Hello, my name is James Halderson. I am the lead designer and principal director of the Thetis project. Um, so I did a larger presentation to go over the Thetis project and what a block matrix is, a whole project overview, but this is going to be more concise and to the point. This is just going to be the block matrix concept alone without introducing any of the other concepts that come with the project. So let's just get into it. So, what is a block matrix? What is the Thetis block matrix project? A block matrix is a new, innovative idea in the blockchain industry. Essentially, a block matrix is an ecosystem of several different blockchains that are all interconnected and communicating with each other's individual blockchains. How the Thetis ecosystem will work is each individual account has its own blockchain. This account can hold several unique data types that are owned and processed by the associated account, including token wallets, NFTs, and encrypted blockchain assets, which we'll get into in a second. So, if we look at the little diagram here on the side, this is a blockchain. Most people in the crypto and blockchain space already know how this works, but a little overview. You start off with a Genesis block that goes all the way back to the beginning of when this blockchain was first created, and then you're hashing successive blocks with the previous hash of this block. So this block hashes with that block, this block hashes with that block, etc. All the way back to the Genesis block. Now, the difference with the block matrix, just briefly, is that you have an account. So this is your blockchain here, and it's tied to an associated account that has account assets. Each one of these accounts actually has a blockchain that's operating on its own, instead of everybody sharing one blockchain, like legacy blockchain projects such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, any one of those large names in the space. They all share this blockchain, and most of the communications actually being done through smart contracts and external dApps, decentralized applications that are communicating to a centralized blockchain. So this is a different take on the whole concept. It's actually, in a way, the natural evolution of the blockchain is going to a matrix. Think about the blockchain as being one-dimensional, like a straight line. A line is one-dimensional mathematically. And a block matrix is like you have an X and Y axis, or columns and rows that have different levels of accessibility. And that's a good way of describing how this differs from that. Basically, the block matrix contains blockchains. So we'll go on to the next slide. So block matrix communication. The block matrix has a backend database containing tables that are representative of the individual blockchains and their assets they contain. When a transaction occurs, a block is created on the initiator's blockchain. A duplicate block is sent to the receiving accounts associated with the database table, where it is then verified by the local wallet manager application and then added to the receiving account's blockchain. After verification and confirmation, the associated assets are distributed to the receiving account. So we'll come to our diagram here to kind of go more in depth into what I just read off here. So when we looked at the previous thing, we had XYZ that was just giving kind of an illustration or a visualization of these different blockchains that are all their own blockchains. They have their own account assets, etc. So here we'll say, sorry, X's blockchain here with its block data going back to the Genesis block. This is just demonstrating that this is his blockchain here. When he does a transaction or interacts in any way with his blockchain, a block is created and hashed onto his side. This same block is then duplicated. So this is a duplicate block here. And this block is sent to a backend table where block Y or blockchain Y is then waiting here, is looking for things. It's always looking to see if there's new data coming into its backend table. So I send over this block data, and the backend table receives that block data. Y's blockchain now goes and queries for this, requisitions it, and gets it back, and then adds the duplicate block to its blockchain. So here's the block received, here's the block created and hashed. So, in other words, don't mind, there's sirens in the background right now. In other words, what's going on is that my block will say, oh, this block has been created and a transaction has been done. I am sending this data and I am sending this asset to this other guy. And then the data gets transferred to his backend table, and he's waiting. When he receives it, he will verify everything on his end and then pull down the block data, and on his end it will say, oh, I have received what X's blockchain is sending. So that's pretty much a basic overview of how, when we're looking at the blockchains and how they interact with each other in a block matrix, this is kind of a little demonstration of how that will work. So now we're looking at encrypted blockchain assets. So this is important for the understanding what's going on inside of the blockchain. EBAs, or encrypted blockchain assets, are essentially the natural evolution of the NFT protocol. EBA is an encrypted asset that is only available to be accessed and interacted with by the owner of the contract, who owns not only the asset itself, but also an asset decryption key. The EBA is encrypted and then stored on the blockchain as an encrypted asset. Nobody is capable of viewing or interacting with this asset unless they have the asset key, and the key that it was the AES key that it was created with, encrypted with. So to go over that here, there's two things going on inside of an EBA. On the blockchain itself, so we just looked at the blocks being created, a duplicate block, and then that's being sent to another blockchain through a database table. That's occurring here. An EBA certificate is that block data. So I'm creating an EBA certificate, which is similar to an NFT. It's a certificate or a receipt that shows that this has been created and has the information for it, but the actual asset exists on its own. And what's going on if we come from the top down here is that our AES key is encrypting this image here. And when that has happened, so when we've encrypted the image, and when it's encrypted, nobody can access it or interact with it in any way. So that's very different from an NFT. With an NFT, basically, you have a certificate that's pointing somewhere on the internet, like a linked list that says this is linked to that on the internet. And when you follow the hyperlink, anybody can view what the hyperlink is pointing at, the asset there, the PNG, the video file, whatever. This differs because there's a cloud account that holds all these files in a file share, but they get encrypted first. So you encrypt it and it goes up into the file share, and then an EBA certificate is created. That EBA certificate is a representation that this has been encrypted and it's being sent, either it's stored on my blockchain or it's being sent to your blockchain, whatever. This is the information. That's then put onto here, and when my blockchain receives that certificate, verifies it, confirms everything, then it goes and it calls to the cloud account and it pulls down the account assets into my account. So that's a basic demonstration here. Let's just go over it one more time because it's kind of a complicated process. AES key encrypts this image. When that happens, EBA certificate is created as block data, which is put onto my blockchain, and this is then tied to my assets account, my account assets here, by cloud file share. So lastly, let's go into asset encryption and transfer, which the EBA plays into. That's why I had to demonstrate it here. Asset encryption and transfer. After a transaction has been completed and the duplicate block data is successfully received, verified, and added to the recipient blockchain, ownership of the associated asset is transferred to the recipient account. The recipient account queries a cloud storage database that holds all EBAs, encrypted blockchain assets, in no distinct order. This query returns all the account owner's assets, including the assets added to their prior transactions, decrypting them, and then the recipient's end at this time. So just a little brief look at the diagram here. Verification signal received, so that's the same thing that when we were looking at slide 2, where you had the duplicate block is sent, and then it's confirmed on the other guy's end, on the recipient's side of the blockchain. So their block, my blockchain sent a data block. They receive the data block, they verify it, and then confirm that this transaction has occurred. That verification signal is then sent back to the sender of the data block. So the verification signal comes back to me, I'm X, and then what happens is that, oh, this has happened, right? That I'm sending this data, this file type to you. I then dig into my account assets, which is, again, account assets is a storage account, cloud storage account. I go and I get my EBA and I make a send signal to him. And on Y's end, on the other blockchain account's end, this is always querying for new EBAs, new EBAs, new EBAs. So when it sees that something has been added to its data table in the background, Y then queries to get it and brings down this asset into their account. And then at that point, the ownership has been transferred between the two assets. So that's basically it. That's what I wanted to go over today in this smaller little quick, in comparison to the 47-minute project overview. This is just an overview of how the block matrix works, how the concept differs from blockchain, and that it actually is like blockchain is a prerequisite to get to block matrix, and that a lot of these concepts are just building upon existing concepts in blockchain, but evolving them and innovating on them until we get to this new paradigm where things don't have to be one-dimensional and things can be two-dimensional, and you can have several blockchains communicating with each other in one ecosystem. You can have different accounts. You know, it's not just I have a wallet and my wallet is how I do everything. A wallet is only in the Thetis blockchain. This is a good clarification for a distinction here. In the Thetis block matrix environment, a wallet is just one EBA. It's just one asset that's held in your account assets. It's not that I use a wallet to do everything, and of course you can have several wallets, but each account could have several wallets as EBAs. So that's the difference here, is that an account is another layer up from a wallet. It contains wallets assets, and these EBAs, they could be anything. They could be video files, they could be text, they could be images, they can be sound files, audio, and even what we want to do is to do anything like 3D model files, let's say, or video games or whatever. Any kind of data type that you can imagine could be encrypted into an EBA and then sent securely between accounts on this block matrix, between their blockchains. So that's about it. That's what I wanted to go over today in this video. Check out the Thetis project. We have a website now, thetisbm.com. We have our Twitter account, which is the Thetis Block Matrix. And there's a Telegram, Thetis Block Matrix, that people can communicate in. There's several ways to get a hold of us. If you want to, talk about this concept, or, if you have questions, concerns, whatever, you can drop us a line on any of our social media or the Telegram account. There's a pink sale coming up soon. If this video is going to go out on Saturday, what is today? Saturday the 21st. There's a pink sale starting on Monday the 23rd. So this video will be around longer than that, but if you're watching this on Saturday the 21st, the pink sale starts on the 23rd and goes until the 30th. Alright, that's about it. Check everything out. Bye.